Welcome, children. So far, we have seen 3 video lessons on Chapter 2, Nutrition in Animals. Today, we are going to read the textbook and understand better. We are going to underline important sentences so that it remains in our memory for a long time. So, let's start reading. Lesson 2, Nutrition in Animals. You have learnt in Chapter 1 that plants can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis, but animals cannot. Animals get their food from plants, either directly by eating plants or indirectly by eating animals that eat plants. Some animals eat both plants and animals. Recall that all organisms, including humans, require food for growth, repair, and function of the body. Animal nutrition includes nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food, and its utilization in the body. You have studied in class 6 that food consists of many components. Try to recall and list them below. Okay, you can now recall the components of food and start writing. What are the different components of food? Carbohydrates, fats, vitamins. Yes, very good. Start writing. The components of food such as carbohydrates are complex substances. These complex substances cannot be utilized as such, so they are broken down into simpler substances. The breakdown of complex components of food into simpler substance is called digestion. Kindly underline this sentence. 2.1. Different ways of taking food. The mode of taking food into the body varies in different organisms. Bees and hummingbirds suck the nectar of plants. Infants of human and many other animals feed on mother's milk. Snakes like the python swallow the animals they prey upon. Some aquatic animals filter tiny food particles floating nearby and feed upon them. Activity 2.1. What is the type of food and mode of feeding of the following animals? Write down your observation in the given table. You may find the list of modes of feeding given below the table helpful. So this is the table that you have to fill on your own. Various modes of feeding, names of the animals are given, and these are some of the modes of feeding. So kind of food they eat. From your own observation, you need to write. If you don't know, you may ask your parents or elder sibling to fill this. Okay? So let's move to the next part of the lesson. Amazing facts. Starfish feeds on animals covered by hard shells of calcium carbonate. Kindly underline calcium carbonate. After opening the shell, the starfish pops out its stomach through its mouth to eat the soft animal inside the shell. The stomach then goes back into the body and the food is slowly digested. So please underline, this may be asked for 1 mark, calcium carbonate. 2.2. Digestion in humans. We take in food through the mouth, digest and utilize it. The unused part of the food are defecated. Have you ever wondered what happens to the food inside the body? The food passes through a continuous canal. You can see in the diagram. which begins at the buccal cavity and ends at the anus. The canal can be divided into various compartments. Number 1, buccal cavity. Number 2, food pipe or esophagus. Number 3, stomach. Number 4, intestine. Number 5, large intestine, ending in the rectum and the anus. So this is very important. Kindly underline. Is it not a very long path? These paths together form the alimentary canal or digestive tract. So this is very important. It can be asked for objective type question. The food components gradually get digested as food travels through the various compartments, the inner walls of the stomach and the small intestine, and the various glands such as salivary glands, the liver and the pancreas. Kindly underline. Secrete digestive juices. The digestive juices convert complex substances of food into simpler ones. The digestive tract and associate glands together constitute the digestive system. Now, let us know what happens to the food in different parts of the digestive tract, the mouth and the buccal cavity. Food is taken into the body through the mouth. Kindly underline. The process of taking in the body is called ingestion. We chew the food with the teeth and break it down mechanically into small pieces. Each tooth is rooted in a separate socket in the gums. Figure 2.3. Our teeth vary in appearance and perform different functions. Accordingly, they are given different names. Activity 2.2. Wash your hands. Look into the mirror and count your teeth. Use your index finger to feel the teeth. How many kinds of teeth could you find? Take a piece of an apple or bread and eat it. Which teeth do you use for biting and cutting? And which one for piercing and tearing? Also, find out the ones that are used for chewing and grinding. Record your observation. So this table you need to fill up by your own observation. Okay. So this is type of teeth, number of teeth, lower jaw, upper jaw, total number of teeth. Cutting and biting, how many teeth you use. Piercing and tearing, how many you use. Chewing and grinding, how many you use. So the first one, if you see, cutting and chewing, it will be 4. 4 upper jaw, 4 lower jaw, 4, totally 8. There, the next one, piercing and tearing feet, it is 2, 2 and 4. Okay, these are next chewing and grinding teeth, 4, 4 and 8. Now we'll look into the structure, the diagram. Now you can see the 4 types of teeth here. Can you see the incisors, canine, premolar and molar. So this is the arrangement of teeth and different types of teeth. Now we'll go into the blue box. Okay, these are important things that we have to know. Mill teeth and permanent teeth. Do you remember about falling of your teeth some years ago? The first set of teeth grows during infancy and they fall off at the age between 6 to 8 years. These are termed milk teeth. The second set that replaces them are the permanent teeth. Permanent teeth may last throughout life or fail off during old age or due to some dental disease. Now we'll read into this cloud. Bourgeois is fascinated by the highly coiled small intestine seen in figure 2.2. He wants to know its length. Would you like to make a wild guess? You have given its approximate length on page 16. Just imagine how such a long structure is accommodated in a small space within our body. Our mouth has the salivary glands which secrete saliva. Do you know the action of saliva on food? Let us find out. Activity 2.3. Take two test tubes, label them A and B. In test tube A, put 1 teaspoonful of boiled rice. In test tube B, keep 1 teaspoonful of boiled rice after chewing it for 3 to 5 minutes. Add 3 to 4 ml of water in both the test tubes. Figure 2.4. Now pour 2 to 3 drops of iodine solution in each test tube and observe. Why is there a change in color in the test tubes? Discuss the result with your classmate and your teacher. This we will do it in junior science lab and then note the observation. The saliva breaks down the starch into sugars. The tongue is a fleshy muscular organ attached at the back to the floor of the buccal cavity. It is free at the front and can be moved in all directions. Do you know the functions of the tongue? We use our tongue for talking. Besides, it mixes saliva with the food during chewing and helps it swallowing food. We also taste food with our tongue. It has taste buds that detect different tastes of food. We can find out the position of taste buds by the following activity. Activity 2.4. Prepare a separate sample each of sugar solution, common salt solution, lemon juice, juice of fresh neem leaf or bitter gourd. Blindfold one of your classmates and ask her or him to take out the tongue and keep it in straight and flat position. Use a clean toothpick to put the above samples one by one on different areas of the tongue as shown in figure 2.6. Use a new toothpick for each sample. Ask the classmate which areas of the tongue could detect the sweet, salty, sour, and bitter substances. Write down your observations and label figure 2.6. Repeat this activity with other classmates. So this you can try at home with your parents and siblings. Now let's read this blue box. Sometimes when you eat in a hurry, talk or laugh while eating, you may cough, get hiccups or a choking sensation. This happens when food particles enter the windpipe. The windpipe carries air from the nostrils to the lungs. It runs adjacent to the food pipe, but inside the throat, air and food share a common passage. Then, how is food prevented from entering the windpipe? During the act of swallowing, a flap-like valve closes the passage of the windpipe and guides the food into the food pipe. If by chance food particles enter the windpipe, we feel choked, get hiccups, or cough. Sweets and tooth decay. Normally, bacteria are present in our mouth, but they are not harmful to us. However, we do not clean our teeth or mouth after eating. Many harmful bacteria also begin to live and grow in it. These bacteria break down the sugar present from the leftover food and release acids. See chapter 5 to know what an acid is. This acids gradually damage the teeth. Figure 2.5. So you can see the pictures given here and see observe how the food, tooth get decay. This is called tooth decay. If it is not treated in time, It causes severe toothache and its extreme cases results in tooth loss. Chocolates, sweets, cold drinks, and other sugar products are the major culprit of tooth decay. Therefore, one should clean the teeth with a brush or datun and dental floss, a special strong thread which is moved between two teeth to take out trapped food particles at least twice a day and rinse the mouth after every meal. Also, one should not put dirty fingers or any unwashed object in the mouth. Now, now for the previous activity, the regions are marked here. You can label which area is for salty, bitterness, etc. I will move on to this topic. The food pipe esophagus. The solid food passes into the food pipe or esophagus. Look at figure 2.2. The food pipe runs along the neck and the chest. The food is pushed down by the movement of the wall of the food pipe. Actually, this movement takes place throughout the alimentary canal and pushes the food downwards. At times, the food is not accepted by our stomach and is vomited out. Recall the instances when you vomited after eating and think of the reason for it. Discuss with your parents and teacher. The stomach. The stomach is a thick walled bag. It- its shape is like a flattened U and it is the widest part of the alimentary canal. It receives food from the food pipe at one end and opens into the small intestine at the other end. The inner lining of the stomach secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juice. The mucus protects the lining of the stomach. The acid kills many bacteria that enter along the food and makes the medium in the stomach acidic. The underline the digestive juices break down the proteins into simpler substances. The small intestine. The small intestine is highly coiled and it's about 7.5 meters long. Underline it it receives secretions from the liver and pancreas. Besides, its walls also secretes juices. The liver is a reddish brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. It is the largest gland in the body. It secretes bile juice that is stored in a sac called the gallbladder. The bile plays an important role in the digestion of fats. Please underline. The pancreas is a large cream colored gland located just below the stomach. The pancreatic juice acts on carbohydrates and proteins and changes them into simpler forms. Partly digested food now reaches the lower part of the small intestine where the intestinal juice completes the digestion of all components of the food. The carbohydrates gets broken into simple sugars such as glucose, fats, and fatty acids, and glycerol and proteins into amino acids. Absorption in the small intestine. The digested food can now pass into the blood vessels in the wall of the intestine. This process is called absorption. The inner wall of the small intestine have thousands of finger-like outgrowths. These are called villi, singular villus. Can you guess what the role of villi could be in the intestine? The villi increases the surface area for the absorption of the proteins required by the body. This is called assimilation. In the cells, glucose breaks down with the help of oxygen into carbon dioxide and water, and energy is released. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed then enters into the large intestine. Large intestine. Large intestine is and short Large intestine is wider and shorter than small intestine. It is about 1.5 meter in length. Underline, its function is to absorb water and some salts from the undigested food material. The remaining waste passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid feces. The fecal material is removed through the anus from time to time. This is called egestion. The working of the stomach was discovered by a strange accident. In 1822, a man named Alex Saint Martin was badly hit by a shotgun. The bullet had seriously damaged the chest wall and made a hole in his stomach. He was brought to an American army doctor, William Blue. The doctor saved the patient, but he could not close the hole properly. Blue Moon took it as a great opportunity to see the inside of the stomach through the hole. He made some wonderful observations. Blue Moon found that the stomach was churning food. Its wall secreted a fluid which could digest the food. He also observed that the end of the stomach opens into the intestine only after the digestion of food inside the stomach is completed. Diarrhea. Sometimes you may have experienced the need to pass watery stool frequently. This condition is known as diarrhea. It may be caused by an infection, food poisoning, or indigestion. It is very common in India, particularly among children. Under severe condition, it can be fatal. This is because of the excess loss of water and salts from the body. Diarrhea should not be neglected. Even before a doctor is consulted, the patient should be given plenty of boiled and cooked water with a pinch of salt and sugar dissolved in it. This is called oral rehydration solution, ORS. 2.3, Digestion in grass eating animals. Have you observed cows, buffaloes, and other grass eating animals chewing continuously even when they are not eating grass? Actually, they quickly swallow the grass and store it in separate part of the stomach called rumen. Here, the food gets partially digested and is called cud. But later the cud returns to the mouth in small lumps and the animal chews it. This process is called rumination and these animals are called ruminants. The grass is rich in cellulose, a type of carbohydrate. Many animals, including humans, cannot digest cellulose. Ruminants have a large sac-like structure between the small intestine and the large intestine. Figure 2.9. The cellulose of the food is digested here by the action of certain bacteria which are not present in humans. So far, you have learned about animals which possess the digestive system. But there are many small organisms which do not have a mouth and a digestive system. Then, how do they acquire and digest food? In the section below, you will learn another interesting way of food intake. Pehali wants to know why these animals cannot chew food properly at the time they take it in. Buju wants to know why we cannot digest cellulose like the cattle do. Feeding and digestion in amoeba. Amoeba is a microscopic single cell organism found in pond water. Amoeba has a cell membrane, a rounded dense nucleus, and many small bubble-like vacuoles in its cytoplasm. Figure 2.10. Amoeba constantly changes its shape and its position. It pushes out one or more finger-like projection called pseudopodia or false feet for movement and capture of food. Amoeba feeds on some microscopic organism. When it senses food, it pushes out pseudopodia around the food particle and engulfs it. The food becomes trapped in a food vacuole. Digestive juices are secreted into the food vacuole. They act on the food and break it down into simpler substances. Gradually, the digested food is absorbed. The absorbed substances are used for growth, maintenance, and multiplication. The undigested residue of the food is expelled outside by the vacuole. The basic process of digestion of food and release of energy is the same in all organisms. In a later chapter, you will learn about the transport of food absorbed by the intestine to the various parts of the body. Now, underline what is important. Now, we have finished reading the lesson 2. If you want more information, you can find from Google about digestion of animals, nutrition in animals more specifically. Thank you, children.